pleased to have the opportunity to participate in this afternoon's debate on Scotland's first ever dedicated, long-term social enterprise strategy. Not least because it affords me the opportunity to talk about all of the fantastic work of social enterprises within my constituency of Renfrewshire South. I say all of the fantastic work, I really just mean some because there's so much of it. But before doing so, however, I do wish to remark upon social enterprises more generally and how they relate to the Scottish Government's economic strategy, as well as highlighting some of the ways in which the social enterprise strategy will impact positively upon the sector. Presiding Officer, the Scottish Government's co-produced, and I think it's just important to remember that it wasn't a government document, it was a co-produced document, is actually the first of its kind, and it does provide a 10-year framework for actions that builds on the solid evidence base of the 2015 social enterprise census and Scotland's long-standing association with business models that prioritise the social good. And I think one of the elements of strategy is it's about having flexibility. And if you're too prescriptive within a strategy, you'll be locking into a 10-year... Oh, do you know, I've sat on committees and I've listened to people complain about the idea of strategies being people being locked in for 10 years. So it seems if it's too prescriptive, the government's trying to lock sectors in. If it's not prescriptive enough, then it's not worth the paper it's written on. But one thing about it is it's buttressed by a series of social enterprise action plans, which I would say perhaps are the tactical implementation of the strategy. And this strategy will see a focus on stimulating social enterprise, developing stronger organisations and realising market opportunities. And this will see support for more people to start their own social enterprises, enhancing networks and workforce development opportunities, and improving and widening access to public markets, as well as developing profile in consumer markets and supporting opportunities to increase trade with both domestic and, importantly, international markets. Presiding Officer, social enterprises already make a significant contribution to the Scottish economy, employing over 100,000 people and with a net worth of close to £4 billion, making a positive contribution towards the Scottish Government's ambition of inclusive growth. With over 5,000 social enterprises already operating and 200 new start-ups every year, there is clear evidence that this flourishing sector is making a positive impact, some of which is in evidence in Neilson and my constituency of Renfrewshire South. Now, last year I had the privilege of meeting with the Neilson Development Trust at their base, the bank. What as recently as 10 years ago was a closed high street bank is now a vibrant and dynamic community hub. As well as hosting a popular cafe and local first responders, it is utilised by 30 public and third sector organisations, 15 community groups, other social enterprises and micro businesses. With nearly 5,000 visitors to the cafe alone in the last year or so, it's easy to understand why the bank has been called the living room of Neilson. And the success of the bank alone would be regarded as an outstanding achievement for any organisation. However, it is only one aspect of the work of the Neilson Development Trust. The Trust is now fast becoming a key player in active travel, as one of only 7 cycle-friendly employer assessor bodies across Scotland, with responsibility for assessing employers in East Renfrewshire, South Ayrshire, Renfrewshire and South Lanarkshire. And in the past year or so, the Trust has been responsible for the repair and recycling of over 300 bikes and has secured many cycle-to-work pledges, saving an estimated 16 tonnes of CO2. As well as the positive environmental impact, the Trust's work in active travel has engaged students from across East Renfrewshire in psychomechanic and guilds vocational training. This is in addition to also being a partner in the Neilson Community Wind Farm, which produced enough carbon-free electricity in the past year to power twice the number of homes in Neilson. With over 100 regular volunteers and 14 paid employees, the work of the Trust is community empowerment in action, creating opportunities and improving lives. Renfrewshire South is also home to some other fantastic social enterprises, such as the Linwood Community Development Trust, who I've mentioned before in this chamber, and East Renfrewshire Voluntary Action, based in Barrhead. Individually and collectively, they make a huge contribution, and I look forward to future opportunities to share some of their fantastic work with the chamber. Presiding Officer, the range of contributions that social enterprises make are vast. However, I personally feel that the most important, particularly today, of these is in strengthening communities and in empowering people. It's clear from the upheaval of the past 12 months that many people across the world feel... Oh, certainly.
Joanne Lamont.
I wonder if you would agree that one of the key roles I agree with you, the role they play within communities, but one of the significant things they do is create sort of organisations which pay the living wage, which are environmentally serious, that recognise the importance of equal pay, and the organisations that don't do that ought not to be in receipt of public funds?
Tom Arthur.
I have a great deal of sympathy for the points Jan Lamont makes. I spent with the Nielsen Development Trust. I've met people who were, came from chaotic lifestyles and their lives have been transformed, and the dignity of having a job, of having employment, and of essentially of being empowered is incredible in the transformative effects it has. And one of the points that I was really just about to make was it is clear from the political upheaval of the past 12 months that many people across the world have actually felt alienated from power and the centres of control. That's also something that's been reflected in the levels of democratic engagement. Last May in Renfrewshire South, 2 out of every 5 people entitled to vote chose not to exercise that right. In recent elections for local government, typically fewer have chosen to participate. Sadly, it's still the case that for many, they do not feel that they have a stake or role in power and decision-making. This too often can lead to some to a feeling that nothing can change and that their lives and communities are fixed, that the inequity and inequality, which is still far too pervasive across the globe, cannot be addressed through engagement with the current political systems. Some respond to this in a sense of hopelessness with quiet resignation. Others respond in anger. But whatever political views we have here, I hope we can all agree that the political times we are living through have been shaped by communities who feel strongly that they have been left behind, marginalised, belittled and ignored. And while there is no single solution to the challenges faced by such communities, a big part of the answer is in community empowerment, so effectively provided by social enterprises. Just to conclude, Presiding Officer, Neilston, Barhead and Linwood, to give 3 examples, have experienced many of the problems shared by post-industrial communities across Scotland and the Western world. In addressing these problems in each of the 3 communities,
I've been a wee bit
social
too
enterprises
generous, Mr.
have played
Arthur.
and will
Please
continue
conclude.
to play a vital role.